is in the house. The general is in the building. Y'all already know what it is. We taking all questions. General want all the smoke. Bring it on, goddamn it, from whatever conscious community organization. Bring it on. Bring it on. Family, we got that 24 hours, 7 days a week live stream on General Seti YouTube page, Sarasun Seti. Tap in. I want you to tap in, family. We got all them heavyweight uh uh presentations, man. Man, it's fire. Believe me when I tell you. Believe me when I tell you. Let me get this. We is in the house. Weez is in the house, family. We taking all questions. God damn it. Taking all questions. Bring it on. I want you to get that hot sauce out. Thank you, family. I want you to get that hot sauce out. Don't come in here tiptoeing. Don't come in here tiptoeing. We want all the smoke. Bring it on. Just dropping a few, that's right, Black Power, gas, global African supremacy is it most definitely in the building. Just dropping a few. Okay, let me get that live stream in there. Let me get that live stream in there. But anyway, family, yeah, let's drop it. Let's get it. Let's put that work in. Let's put that work in. I know y'all got some questions for the general. I want to make sure everybody get in. All my naysayers, I got to most definitely get them in the house. We can't leave them out. We can't leave the naysayers out. Yeah. Thank you, family. I appreciate all that. You already know that. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I just going out and get out here and listen when I tell y'all this, man. You know, we most definitely the history of ancient Egypt, the Nile Valley. You see what I'm saying? We most definitely got to continue to stay tapping into that. That's most definitely, when we start dealing with, science and technology and just how we laid this planet out, how we laid out civilization, cities and things of that nature, cities and things of that nature. You feel what I'm saying? And we took it to the level of where modern civilization is at today. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. New Haven in the house. That's what's up. That's right. Connecticut. That's right. Oh man, what you got going on down there? Here come one of these Neanderthals. Here come one of these Neanderthals. Ain't got nothing to do. I'm gonna go and get them on up out of here. They gone. Yeah, go on and go do you. Go get your Vaseline and go on do what you do. You see what I'm saying? We got nothing but fire. We got to stay tapped in. I'm gonna tell you why we had to tap in to ancient Egypt. Because so much of what modern civilization is built on. See, when niggas got smoke and mirrors, they could talk about smoke and mirrors. You see what I'm saying? But when we send our babies to school, we send them there to get science and technology. You see, that's what's running this world today. Yeah, you got to have the spirituality. We got that. God damn, we more spiritual than any people on the planet. You see, we got that. We got that hands down. You know what I'm saying? What we need to right along with that is some military, some science and technology. You see what I'm saying? And an initiative to get our own nation. That's what we need. You see? That's what we need. Yeah, the Neanderthal, we put him back up out of here. You know what I'm saying? We had some of them raw, some raw meat. You see what I'm saying? We set a trap out there and put some raw meat in, and we got the Neanderthal. So he's been escorted back to the cave. You know what I'm saying? We escorting him back to the cave. But anyway, the thing is, man, when you looking at majority of these ancient cultures, you can see all of them as nothing but, smaller colonies of the Nile Valley. That's all there is, a smaller colony. When you look at Babylon and Sumeria and you look at India and even China, all of that over there, and you go into Greece and you go into Rome, all of those are nothing but smaller colonies of the Nile Valley. You see, you coming over here, old Mecca, ain't nothing but a colony of the Nile Valley. I was looking up, just skyscrapers. And I always bring, because this is science and technology. Let me see. You say, how could it even be possible to build our own military? Goddamn it, you got enough goddamn guns in the goddamn streets right now you talking about how could it even be possible? Yeah, shit, I mean, you start somewhere. God damn it. You start somewhere. Even if you ain't got goddamn guns, you gather and you start a fraternity of men that's there, if they ain't doing shit but working out. You see, when hand to hand combat. You understand? Start with that. You start some goddamn where. You see what I'm saying? You might not got all the artillery yet. Goddamn, you just start getting your mind and body in shape, nigga, and goddamn hand-to-hand combat, sticks and shit. You see what I'm saying? Some shit that you can go upside a motherfucking head with right now. Because a lot of time, if you got numbers, you ain't necessarily got to have the motherfucker all the weaponry. You see what I'm saying? If 1,000 motherfuckers show up at your motherfucking door, you gonna be in fear whether they got a motherfucking pistol or not. Numbers alone, send a certain frequency. So you have to start wherever you can start, but start. See that don't you know what I'm saying? Start, you know, somewhere. And and that's the first place to start. There's been a lot of organizations that, they just got out on the street, patrol the street. They didn't have no damn guns. You understand what I'm saying? They had numbers. I don't advise you to get out there. Somebody should have something. Yeah, yeah. Somebody should have something, but that's just an excuse not to, because once you start building, once you start getting that energy together, shit fall into place. If you put the question out in the universe and you keep asking the universe or to present you with the answer, it'll do that. You see, but most of the time you just got to get moving. You feel what I'm saying? So you got stuck on the 24/7, got that fire. Can you speak on the dragon right below South America, above Antarctica on the map? Okay, well, what map is that? You say the dragon? Right below South America, above Antarctica on the map. I have to see what map that is. What map is that? Cause I can't speak. Let me see. Yeah, I see the head of it. It look like a serpent. Look like a serpent. I don't. I had to do a little more research on it. I mean, sometimes shit. Nature is like that. That's just like when you go into Nubia. They got that one mountain. They call it Jabril Barka. What's the name of that mountain? Jabal Barkal, which it looked like a serpent in the like the Uraeus on the Pharaoh's crown. And so they got a mountain that got the serpent on it. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things in nature it takes on the image of certain, animals and certain things in nature and shit. I can't speak that it's a dragon in the water. I can't speak to that. I had to do a little more science on that. But it looked like the head of a serpent, most definitely. It looked like the head of a serpent, most definitely. Yeah, it looks like, like some what they call it when you got certain like it's like rocks and shit that's under the water. Oh yeah, well, old Louis. Louis Farrakhan. Everybody know him by now. He been here damn near 80 years, over 80 years. He done flip-flopped in what he believe in. Farrakhan talk more about Jesus today. He might as well go on if he still, I think he done got so old he done just sat his ass down. But he been talking his last years, he talked more about damn Jesus Christ. Talk more about Jesus Christ. You see what I'm saying? They became Scientology and all, and that's crazy. I wouldn't have never thought they would fuck with Scientology, but then that show you that occultism, because you got to be able to fit two pieces of a puzzle together to make it fit. So it got to be something that that is is similar in their ideologies for them to piggyback on one another like that. You see what I'm saying? How do I feel about Bobby Hemmett teachings? I think Bobby Hemmett got some. I think he got some wisdom in certain areas. You see, I think he got some wisdom in certain areas, and I tap in when I'm dealing with the occult. But again, I don't. You know, he says some things that I don't agree with. He says some things that I do agree with. But Bobby Hemmett, by him dealing with the occult, you see what I'm saying? And he, coming in and he said some things. He even said some things about Dr. Ben. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nigga, y'all niggas coming in too late to be thinking y'all could fuck with the masters and shit. So, that's where, I had, and he came up off of that shit quick. You know what I'm saying? He came up off of that. Bobby, but like I say, Bobby Hemmett got some wisdom in the area of the occult, but sometimes you could go too far with that shit. You see, especially to think he could debate with Dr. Ben. You know what I'm saying? That was some bullshit. You know, but that don't mean you discard everything that he talking about. You know, but in order for him to be right, because Dr. Bennett already came. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy because if he already been teaching, 80 years before you got here, I mean, damn, you got to think about it, man. Dr. Ben had already been teaching on ancient Egypt probably 50 years before Bobby Hemmett even started teaching. You see what I'm saying? And then, a lot of his references was fucking white boys. See, the thing is what's gonna get niggas, into the occult, where niggas fall in, they get the referencing too many white people. You see what I'm saying? That's the problem. When you listen to Bobby Hemming and you damn near every reference is a white boy. You see what I'm, and I understand you have to use them many times, for niggas that got crackatosis, and you had to, sometimes you had to show some white references, and many times you show the white references because they agree with the African origins of certain things. You're not that they the primary scholar. No, you put them up because people think that niggas just creating the shit for, that niggas created this. And the reality is many of these people out here ignore the fact that white people were already telling the truth before black scholars even started writing. You already had white writers that were saying that Egypt was black and things of that nature. And so in that respect and regard, you give white references. But see, but when you listen to Bobby Hemming, I mean, every fucking scholar was white. You know what I'm saying? Every one of them was white. You see? And then here it is, like I say, Dr. Ben is the one that it wouldn't even be a nigga in America talking about ancient Egypt if it wasn't for Dr. Ben. You see what I'm saying? And I know that clearly. And see, a lot of people don't understand. It wouldn't be a nigga nowhere in America or the Western Hemisphere talking about. And the crazy thing about Dr. Ben, see, you had other scholars that were great scholars. You see what I'm saying? Dealing with ancient Egypt. You had Sheikh Diop. A lot of people. I read some of Sheikh Diop's literature, but he married a white woman. And so, you thinking to myself, how much of this shit do you believe, nigga? You see what I'm saying? And he dropped some profound knowledge, but I never knew it until later on. I was like, this man married a white woman. You see what I'm saying? But again, I mean, the literature was backed up with references, and when I read it, this shit was right and exact. But that just show you, you know what I'm saying? But you had to put an asterisk by his motherfucking name. And then you had Chancellor Williams, Destruction of Black Civilization. You had George G.M. Johnson. But Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark is the ones that introduced them scholars. The majority of the books in the conscious community, the African-centered scholars introduced those books. That's just facts. You see what I'm saying? And so regardless, when you look at the other groups, you see what our teachers did is that they didn't indoctrinate us because I had so many books. Scholars was writing on everything. So you didn't have no church shit where you had one ideology and you know what I'm saying? You had African-centered scholars and they had different viewpoints. You see what I'm saying? And I had all the books, but they taught you how to research. That was premier. That's what the African-centered community, how to research. Niggas didn't have libraries like that. That's another thing that we taught that come up out of the African-centered community. Libraries. Okay? Niggas didn't have no libraries into the African-centered community. That was something that came out of it. So when you look at the majority of the shit, the lectures, bringing community lectures on the level that we brought all that. Period. You see? We brought all that. And so what Bobby Hemming, the lecture, Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark was the ones doing the lectures all over the country like that on the escalated level. Before any of them two right there is the ground runners, meaning they just like Malcolm X went out and he was the one that really built the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X is the one that went around the country on the road opening up Nation of Islam temples. It's something to be a nigga in on the microphone just teaching, but they didn't have none of them had the ability to go around the country and mesmerize people with facts and open up temples and shit. Malcolm X even he was the one that introduced their newspaper. You see, so that's something to so Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark was the ones that was going all around the country that built the audience. You see what I'm saying? To be able to read them books. Other than that, Shay Diop will be on the shelf somewhere. You know, Chancellor William is dynamic as the book is. Would have been if Dr. Ben hadn't and when we start talking about ancient Egypt, you know, I seen it for myself. You know, when I was reading Sheikh Diop books, and you know, he had some facts in there. He had some pictures in there. But when I start opening up Dr. Ben books, the first thing when you go to the front of the book, Dr. Ben, the black man of the Nile, he had all these Egyptian gods and goddesses. You see what I'm saying? He the one that introduced the gods and goddesses to us. All the papyruses. Dr. Ben introduced the papyruses to us. He introduced the temples to us on the escalated level. You see, he introduced the dynastic on the escalated level. You go and he got all he introduced the pharaohs, all of them. He introduced the temples. He introduced the pilgrimages to Egypt. So it wouldn't be a motherfucker in the West. And matter of fact, in the rest of the rest of the goddamn world, Africa too, because people think that, man, they give homage to Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark all over the world. So the motherfuckers got to come up off of that. Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark woke up the world, period. They the one who put scholarship back in us where we started doing research and shit. And we were never doing no reading. Them niggas, before the Pan-African community, they was doing fucking Islam. That's what they was doing. The conscious community before the Pan-African ancient Egyptian community was the Nation of Islam. Black Islam was the conscious community. So tell me what, what caused people to move away from that and go in. It got to be something. The books alone wouldn't have did it. Them books would have stayed on the shelf. It was the fact that these teachers was going all over the country. And Dr. Ben and like Dr. Clark said, man, they'd be in little small rooms teaching, wherever they could teach at churches, you see, community centers, wherever they could get at. You know what I'm saying? And that's how they built the community up. So when you see niggas on YouTube now and they doing lectures, that come from Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark. That's just it is what it is. You see what I'm saying? It is what it is. So motherfuckers can sit up here and talk all this shit. You see what I'm saying? But you tethering. Y'all niggas tethered on them, and now motherfuckers, now that they, and you could tell they try to discard literature. You mean to tell me y'all gonna give up all that information for what? One motherfucker talking about? Read the books and make the motherfucking decision for yourself. You see what I'm saying? That don't make no sense. These people done brought up, and it's actual facts. And it's tens of thousands. When you look at all the scholars that, man, I was buying books. Man, the fucking books ain't even in publication no more. You see what I'm saying? These books ain't even in goddamn publication no damn more. But the information in it was so profound. So, and you go back and it was references in back of them books, and so when you think, man, it's been tens of thousands of references of literature that come out the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, of white scholars that had already saying, man, this is black people. You see what I'm saying? And we wouldn't have never had that information if these scholars had not came and released that information to us. You see what I'm saying? And so and so today, what motherfuckers want to do, they want to come on the piggyback of that. I ask you, where's y'all teachers at? Where was they at back when Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and them was teaching? They should have been in their debate, but you see, this is a new school ideology. You see what I'm saying? This is a new school ideology, and people just got to, they're just like, the Nation of Islam. Even though they know they originated around the early 1900s, they say they the original Islam. Do you hear me? They say they the original Islam. You feel me? Everybody that come, even though they knew, they try to backdate they shit. Like they really older than what they is. Yeah, so they say they the original Islam. And they go and they write in their book 66 trillion years ago, Black Yakub was split the earth in half and shit, and one part became the moon and one, and shit like that. You could backdate your shit, but the reality is you new school. You see, your ideology don't have not even 2 generations of scholarship. Now, if the concept is that profound, it's gonna be somebody before you that acknowledge that profoundness and at least acknowledge it and write about it. You see what I'm saying? Teach about it, speak about it. Where is your fucking? You give me 2 generations of scholar. You can't even give me 2 generations. Can't even give me 2 generations, letting on 3. You see? And so I seen you niggas, and I just tell it like it is, and I give evidence, like when I came, and I started doing my lectures, like I say, everybody want to be on the goddamn. I'm like, man, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Moors and shit. They want to have a little 15 minutes in front of my shit. No, the Nation of Islam. All them niggas, they wasn't doing that. Them niggas was the Hebrew Israelites was out on the corner. That was they was out on the motherfucking corner. I gave all them niggas an opportunity. I should have left their ass where they was. You see what I'm saying? But it was other motherfuckers in there, and that had they had other they had other plans and shit, outside of what I was doing. So they would let anybody come in there. But they didn't have no platform. Wasn't nobody coming to see none of them niggas. If it wasn't for YouTube, nigga, y'all niggas would be unknown. Period. None of y'all would be gifted enough to go around this country just on your motherfucking lecturing and shit and galvanize no audience. But on YouTube, where today anybody, grandmamas and great grandmamas and granddaddies is on YouTube today. Anybody can get on YouTube today. And people, I want to be entertained more so than they want to be taught. So they'll give a motherfucker opportunity to listen to them and shit. And so most of these motherfuckers is YouTubers. You see what I'm saying? You don't see them come up off the motherfucking inner. I'm 360. I done did it all. I done did it all. You see what I done did the YouTube. I done did lectures. I done been in schools. I done lectured in universities. I done lectured in motherfucking community centers. Whatever, wherever I done did every, as far as a lecturer could do, I done did that. You see, and that show you that when people call you, that just show that you could do more than just some motherfucking YouTube. You see what I'm saying? I was already teaching before I really even learned how to get on motherfucking YouTube. You see, I was already at True Bookstore before I was on YouTube. You see what I'm saying? I was already in crazy as I was just thinking like, damn, I was thinking about Northland, but I was already teaching at the Aquaba, what they call it, the Aquaba Center, which was the shrine of the Black Madonna. I was teaching at places even before damn Northland that I had to remember like, damn, I was over there at the Aquaba Center, which was owned by the Shrine of the Black Madonna. I was over there for about a year before I went to Truth. I was over there for a year. You understand what I'm saying? I used to go over here to the, it was another place they called, what was they? Man, this was a beautiful building too. It was in Detroit and it looked like a castle. And this older sister had got a hold to where she could, I think she bought it or she found some way to get that building. And Marcus Garvey, the UNIA, used to meet in that building. And I remember I used to take my son and we would go down there and, with Marcus, when the brother was teaching on, it wouldn't be hardly nobody in there. It wouldn't be a few people in there. You see what I'm saying? Teaching on Marcus Garvey and shit. So, it take dynamic when you ain't got no YouTube, no computers or none of that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, if these motherfuckers wouldn't have no goddamn YouTube, these niggas would not have a voice nowhere on the planet. Seti, what's the one book you recommend? The one book that I would recommend is hard. You know what? Most of the time I say Stolen Legacy. And most of the time I say Stolen Legacy and back that up with the black destruction of black civilization and Black Man of the Nile by Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan. I think them three books right there, nigga, or lay a foundation that paved the way. You see what I'm saying? George M. James, Stolen Legacy, Chancellor Williams, The Destruction of Black Civilization, and Lead You into the Black Man of the Nile and His Family by Dr. Yosef Ben Yakanan. Them three books right there get you together. You see what I'm saying? That ain't, and then you could go to the rest of them. It's clearly more than that, but like I say, them three right there get you together. You see what I'm saying? They'll get you together. It's even little pamphlets that a lot of people don't know about. You can look it up. It's called, one pamphlet is called Children of the Sun by, what's his name? Parker. What's that brother's name? And it's a small little pack. Woo, pack with knowledge. What's that brother name? Hold on. Children of the Sun. Somebody gonna drop it in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. Drusilla Dungy Houston too. I got it right here. I don't know why. You can't leave this one out. Yeah. Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. Yeah, this one right here. Yeah, that one right there. Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. Thank you, family. I see family to drop some coins in there. Okay. Thank you, family. See you drop some coins. Oh, that's a powerhouse right there. Whoa. I don't know how I left that one out. Yeah, you got to have that one right there. That's a powerhouse. That sister wrote this book, and that show you right there. This sister wrote this book in the early 1900s. She was writing before Dr. Ben. Yeah, that's copyrighted right there, 1926. Copyrighted, 1926. So that just show you when we ask, you know what I'm saying? These family been putting in the work. And these is extraordinary books. These ain't no books that, these is extraordinary books coming with the receipts. You see what I'm saying? So you gonna take all these hundreds and thousands of scrolls that people done brought, and you gonna let one nigga wipe that shit away with some preaching? Oh man, y'all niggas going back on the plantation. You say right there, Neil, what you say, Neil, the great Italian man, his science card said there is no evidence to support the concept of God. So what evidence does a religious leader have? Yeah, but see, but you got to understand the concept. Once you understand the concept of God, and thank you, family. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But that don't denote, that don't, see, we understand that it's frequency and energy. We understand it's the cosmos. You see what I'm saying? We understand all that, but the concept of a man sitting up on the throne is another thing. You see what I'm saying? That's something totally, but for those of us that know that, see, he don't understand because he too caught up into his, so caught up in the science, he don't understand that that's just esoterical understanding, which he ain't gonna understand. You see, we know that the man in the sky that we talking about is ourselves. We're not looking for no man up in the sky. You see, we know that we are the manifestation of the cosmos in flesh. Everything that's out on the outside out there is in us. So the man that we see in the sky is ourselves. You see, that's God. That's God. But you can't be so scientific, nigga. You ain't been here no longer than me. So what science? How far your science is only can be validated in the time frame of the life that you done live. And so if you 60 years old or however, you ain't been here long enough to even more so than the religious nigga. You see, science, people think science is a fucking time machine. You see, science still uh uh cannot beat primary eyewitness account. You see, you can shake up all the vials and all of that. You cannot beat primary evidence. And so a lot of times motherfuckers try to get a science more power than what it really have. Motherfuckers get dates millions a year. That's no different than the goddamn Nation of Islam saying 66 trillion years ago. You know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers going back to the Zoitic period. You understand? 200 million. Yeah, man, get the fuck out of here, man. Get the fuck out of here. Half of you niggas don't even remember what the fuck happened 3 days ago. And motherfuckers going to tell you what happened, 300 million years ago. That's some bullshit. So even so they got some bullshit because science has most definitely lied and been busted lying. You know what I'm saying? More than motherfuckers could, will acknowledge. You feel what I'm saying? But that don't give, but you still got to have some morality. You know what I'm saying? Science don't teach morality. If you just a motherfucker that came from an amoeba, you ain't got no soul, then you don't have what guidelines do you go by? If you ain't dealing with the spiritual, then what fucking guidelines what do you go by? You see, if you just a motherfucking just happen to be, and you come from a monkey, and that motherfucker teach you that man came from monkeys, I get the fuck out of here. Well, you ain't got no soul. Whether you don't got no divine purpose. You just happen to evolve from a goddamn monkey. So what the fuck? What purpose in life do you have, nigga? You just happen to be here. You just happen to evolve from a fucking monkey. That ain't no damn divinity in that. So you ain't really got you ain't obligated to live by no morality or no code. That's right. Oh yeah, blacks in science. Ivan Van anything from Ivan Van Sertima. anything from Ivan Van Sertima. You feel me? But anyway, family, we're gonna I got one more live for this evening. I'm gonna get over here to Sarah. We're gonna drop one more on Sarah. I want y'all to come over there and build with the general. I appreciate y'all coming out here today, working out with the general. Come back on over. Make sure y'all get over there on that 24/7 live stream from the general. It's on Sarah Seti YouTube and General Seti. And we got one more for tonight. Bring the smoke, family. Bring the smoke. Be right black. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Boom. Black power.